Okay, so let's start. Fine. So yesterday we were looking at the package, and also we started looking at the import part, right? So any questions? Earlier we have done inheritance also. Anywhere, any questions are there? Okay. Okay. We'll do one thing. We'll finish the package part and then we can have a revision. Okay. Fine. So and package import whatever is there, right? That will finish and then we'll come back.
एक question है ये package declaration है इसका कोई like standard syntax है like कुछ reference में देखा है com dot whatever the package.
अच्छा, the names of the package. Okay.
Is there any standard?
Yeah. See, why do we have the package?
Compile all the files. Collection of library. Yes.
We see package is a collection, but purpose. What's up? Is it just only about collection?
All the lines.
Okay. You will have your own application, right? You want to create your own application, and you need a requirement for maybe someone has a tailoring application. So, I want to have a class called thread, right? The word thread is used in so many contexts, right? Okay, so then how do you make it, how do we distinguish it, right? We don't want to compromise on the names. Okay, so the idea here is to make a unique way to identify. And your classes, interfaces, whatever we are creating, right? There has to be a unique way to identify them. Okay, also we have because it's a lot of things are open source, right? You will have libraries being available. There are very common classes and interface names. Maybe somewhere it's an interface, somewhere it might be a class. Something like, okay, if I say action, such a common thing. There'll be so many frameworks, right? There'll be so many frameworks. They will also have action is a very common name there, right? Okay, we have a framework which is from someone has a library from Google, some Google library, or they would also have action. Fine. Apache has its own library. They may have again some package containing something called action. How do you uniquely identify that name? So for that, the convention which you're talking about, yes, there is a convention which is followed. Okay, so because these are various organizations, so for any organization they have a domain name. Okay, fine. So reverse the domain name, right? Okay, for example, okay, let's say we have classofjava.com. Okay, then anything from class of Java, okay, they would always start with okay, let me compare. Okay, so anything with class of Java would start with, because my domain is something like classofjava.com, so then I should, okay, so we'll say, okay, at the top level is fine. So all my developments, right, which I'm doing, fine, okay, and that should have it should have something like this package, and I should start with com dot class of Java. Okay, in class of Java I have so many projects. Fine. So whatever is your project name, okay, so dot, okay, I will say, oh, this is some project one. Okay, I'm just giving something like this, project one. Right? Within project, oh, there are so many modules, and you might say, okay, for this module, so the package is for a particular kind of a module. So this is going to be my prefix. For within this project also, you may have something like this. So this is the way the hierarchy is created. Okay, com dot, or okay, if it is if they have the, for example, Apache, or their domain is apache.org, so they'll start with org.apache dot, and whatever framework they are having, that should be the next one. Within the framework, if they have, you know, so you may add more and more things, but this is going from the top of your domain, right, to the, and becoming more specific, and that's how you might have your package naming. Okay, so this is one kind of a convention which is very commonly followed. Okay, because as you use libraries, right, okay, which are from available from different vendors, yes, when you use anything, you will come across this kind of a package structuring. Okay. Fine. Okay, fine. Okay, now let's look at this. What we were yesterday, the last thing which we are trying to understand. We started with the import declaration. Okay, so let's understand what is. Okay, I think day one when we started, right, when we wrote our first code. Before that, I'd mentioned about the structure of a Java file. Okay, so I mentioned, oh, first thing in a Java file, it is optional. You can have a packet declaration. Okay, so structure of Java file, let's put it here. So first thing is simple thing. It was like this. Oh, we have a package. So first statement is your packet declaration. Okay. Next, so this is anyway optional. And we know the syntax for packet declaration. You can have the keyword package, right? Keyword from the language followed by identifier separated with dot, right? Like com dot class of Java dot. So that way, right? Multiple identifiers, right? Okay, so that's the first one. Okay, and this is then followed by
Import statement.
okay. So we have optional again. Yeah? We were not using them earlier. Yes, we have a, and I'm just saying import declaration. Okay. Now, what is import declaration? There are two types of import declarations. Fine, and there can be multiple such imports. So these are more of a declarative thing, instructing the compiler about what's there in this Java, how to use this Java file. Okay, because Java file is used for creating, so there find a number of import declarations, and then comes your type definition. Okay, and this too can be multiple. Okay, so there are a number of type definitions. Okay, yeah, when I say type definition, there are 5 things, right? Class, enum, record, right? Interface, annotation. Okay, so this is what a Java file structure is. Simple. Okay, fine. This we had noted earlier, right? Okay, fine. So we have seen this one. Now, what is the syntax? Package and package name. What is the purpose? What's the purpose of a package declaration? We are declaring a prefix for all the types being defined here. It's nothing but a prefix for all the types being defined in this Java file. Fine. Next is the import declaration. Okay. Import declaration, yes, what is the syntax?
Import.
Yeah. So we have the keyword import. Okay. So import declaration. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So it's nothing but the syntax is saying import. Okay. Let me put it. There are actually two types of imports. Okay, at a broader level, and then within them also there will be again two categories. We'll see. So one of the imports will be like okay. There are two type of import. One is a simple import, import for type, import for the types, and import for static. From yesterday's example of import, what do we understand about import now? What is the purpose?
Specific methods. Like if you want to use date, then we will type date.
There is actually no class called date. We have the class called java.util.date probably, but we don't have anything called date. Okay, yeah. Now,
so for that, like function method. So
if you want to use java.util.date, okay,
then
so what? Yeah,
declare it.
Like we can use it. If you want to use java.util.date, there's no one stopping you from using it. Does it need an import to be able to use java.util.date? Did it require us to use import in order to use geometry.shapes.rectangle? So it's about being able to use the simple name of the class. See that last element, right? That last part, right? That we call as the simple name. So type will have a simple name. Full name is there and there is a simple name. Okay. So being able to use simple name in your Java file, you are declaring, oh, for this particular geometry.shapes.rectangle, I will be using the simple name rectangle everywhere. So you need to understand that this needs a substitution. And I'm only going to be using the simple name. Okay. Fine. So it's just a declaration so that you can use a simple name in the class. There's no one stopping you from using a class here. Okay. So import is not enabling that, oh, you should be able to use it. It's enabling to use the simple name. Okay. And it may not always work out that way. Okay. Fine. So we'll have to understand how the things are working. Now, why I brought it out at this moment here is, we understand it's more about a substitution. Okay. Full name instead of, so I'm not going to write full name. I'm going to be writing the simple name. What about a static member? Does it also not have a name which is unique? It's identified, it's your type name dot the static member. name of the static member. That's how you use them. See, objects are the variables which, yes, they will have different names, right? Okay, fine. Objects will be used through this, but if it is about static, again, that also has a unique name, right? So you may be having, just like we have a shortcut declaration for type names, we can have shortcut declaration for static members. Okay, so import can be there. So we have two types of imports, one for types, other for static members. Okay, fine. So the syntax for type. So let's first look at syntax for the import which is related to types. Okay. So for import related to type, yes, we have two kinds of imports again. Syntax. Okay, so we use the keyword import followed by the fully qualified name of the type. Okay, fine. Full name. Okay, import followed by, I'll say, full name. Okay, fine. Import and the full name can be there, and just put a semicolon, that's fine. Anyway, and is always a semicolon. Okay, example was yesterday what we used: import geometry.shapes.rectangle. Okay, fine. We are never importing a package. Remember this, it's not importing a package. Okay, fine. Yes, we can have an import with a what we call as with a wildcard. So there is an import which is for full name and which is more specific, or you can have an import with a wildcard. So what you are doing is you're saying, okay, import and okay, import with a wildcard. That would be nothing but your some package. Okay, package name. Okay, so you have a package name and then followed by a dot asterisk. Okay, dot star. Fine. Okay, so both of these syntaxes, okay, when we use, we can see for the static one, oh, it's only that, yes, here you insert the word static, it becomes a import for the static members. So import for a static member would be import followed by the word static and then a similar thing. Okay, of course, here it's not full name, but it's a full name of the static member. Okay, this would be full name of a static member. The second one, it's not a package name, then it's a type name, fully qualified type name, dot star. Okay, you can see there is no star dot star possibility here. Okay, only for the last element, right? So this is for types. So if I'm using for types, then this is the package name, because find some package name within which this type I'm looking for. Okay, and if it is for a static member, then this would become a class name, fully qualified class name, or type name rather, not only class. Okay, type name dot star. Okay, when it is static, then only. Okay, if it's static, the type name, because static members appear within a type. Fine. Okay, so let's try to get a feel of how the compiler is working here, right? How the interpretation of import happens. Okay, okay, so looking at a Java file, let me put a simple Java file here. Okay, so it's something like this. It's starting with a package. Okay, and it says, okay, this package is pkg1. And it says, okay, I've got a prefix like this. pkg1 is the prefix. Okay, then we have an import, okay, which is of the type full name. Okay, example was, okay, let's use our example, whatever we did, geometry dot shapes dot rectangle. Okay, and then we had another import which was saying, okay, so we are now using the import which uses a wildcard. Okay, so we'll say import, and maybe I put something like java.awt.star. Okay, we have something like java.awt.star. Okay, there's a reason why AWT has been selected here. Okay, now let's see. So this is nothing but this is all declarative part, right? Now, as the compiler, it's mainly about see, this will not produce anything. You compile this, there's no error, and there's no output. There's no class file to be generated because you don't have a type to create. Okay, so then we go for a class maybe. So we are saying, oh, I have a class like this. I have a class called, okay, let's go with the class cuboid. Okay, and okay, now within this, so now as part of this Java file, fine, this is anyway, this is saying, okay, geometry.shapes.cuboid, and that's the meaning. Okay, when I'm saying this now any other type being used in this. Okay, so someone says, oh, I have to use rectangle. Yeah, I have to use rectangle R1, R2. Okay, for some reason it's not fine. Somewhere in this Java file, okay, somewhere in this Java file, okay, within the class definition, the compiler comes across a type name. It has come across the word rectangle. What the compiler is going to do here is, it says this is not qualified. There's no prefix to it. It's not saying geometry.shapes.rectangle. It's not a fully qualified name. And therefore, what it will do is, it will see what is my current package, pkg1. Can I load a class called pkg1.rectangle? Can I load the class called pkg1.rectangle? If I can, then this rectangle will be substituted with pkg1.rectangle. It doesn't have to go and look in the import declaration. Import doesn't help you here. Clear? So every type used in a Java file, first preference is it has to be prefixed with the current package, whatever is the packet declared at the top. So first priority is given to the current package. Fine. So in our case here, maybe we don't have pkg1.rectangle as a valid class. So what will it do next? Check. Do we have an import declaration whose last element is rectangle? Okay, whose last element is rectangle. Fine. Of course, we do have java.awt.rectangle also as a valid class name, but that's not going to be looked at. It's first saying, oh, I have an import in this, in the import whatever is declared. Okay, it would not look at the static imports here. Fine. the imports for the types. Okay, so for the type imports whichever available in this Java file, okay, it doesn't matter in what order you have written the import declarations. Okay, order of the import declarations does not matter here. Okay, and so it finds, yes, there is something which ends in a rectangle here. This matches, this is the last element here, or that matches here, and therefore this has to be used as geometry.shapes.rectangle. So this entire thing will be substituted here wherever it has come across a word rectangle. Fine. Okay, so maybe you have used somewhere it comes across something like point. Okay, somewhere, yes, a type called point someone is trying to use. Yeah. So when it comes across point, what is the processing? First, it will look for pkg1 dot point. If pkg1 dot point is valid, done. Next step, pkg1 dot point is not available. Look for import which ends with point. It doesn't find. Okay, now let me look at all the imports which have a wildcard, right? And see if I put point over there, will it become valid? Oh, we have java.awt.star. Oh, instead of star, if I put this, what I'm looking for, fine, if java.awt.point, oh, that's a valid thing. I'll substitute it with java.awt.point. Wildcard is the last preference. And if it doesn't find, error. I don't find this symbol. Clear how imports are used? Right? So exactly on similar lines, for a static member, we'll understand static member. Okay, see, I'll show you a few more static members which are useful. Okay, now, we were talking about the string class yesterday. Yeah. So what is required is public static void main. What's a parameter which it is looking for when we give it as a command? String. Is it string? Do we have a class called string? We don't have any class called string. We have the class called, we have the class by the name java.lang.string. Okay, this is what is the class available to us. Okay, we have used the system. There's no class called system. It's java.lang.system. Okay, but it was working for me. Fine. Why java.lang.string works? Okay, why string works and it automatically makes the substitution as java.lang.string. System is getting substituted with java.lang.system. Any Java file, okay, even if you don't make a declaration of an import, okay, by default it takes one import declaration, which is, so this is a default import declaration available in all the Java files. Any Java file you write, you may not have declared it. It will think, oh, we have a declaration of java.lang.star. Okay. Okay. So string will be considered as java.lang.string if you don't have a string type in your current package, if you don't have an import which ends in a string, whose last element is a string. Okay, if there is something, yeah, because this is wildcard. Okay, everything will be, so one is current package, other is a import declaration ending in a string. So they would be preferred to java.lang.string. And someone might have created a class called string. Clear? Working of import. And see, compiler needs to know everything, right? In this Java file, every name. Oh, this is what you are trying to use. Fine. So just saying rectangle doesn't make it known what rectangle you are trying to use. Oh, from which place? Right? So full names are there, unique names have to be there. The purpose of package was give some qualification to them and make it unique. Find some way to make the type names unique. Okay, similar thing for static, right? Okay, exactly same thing works for static. The word static has to be inserted, that's it. Okay, I'll tell you, give an example for the static import. Okay, we have a class called java.lang.math. Okay, I'm writing the full name now, java.lang.math. Okay, or oh, we have used what, system.out.println. Fine, we have used system.out.println. System is name of a class, and if we are saying .out, it means the prefix to that is the name of a type. That means it's a static member. Out is a static member of the system class. Fine. See, something class name dot something, that means oh, it's a static variable. Static variable or static method. Right? Okay. So similar, when we have this package, I'll come to that. There is a class called math also. There's a class called system. So you could have done an import declaration which looks like this. Import static, and you may say, okay, java.lang dot, and you might say java.lang.system dot star or dot out. Suppose I write like this, then it allows me to just say out.println. In this file, where such a static import is there, right? Import the word static here. Fine. Important is the word static. So I'm using it for a static member. So here is a static member called out available in java.lang.system. So in this file, I will be able to use out instead of the full name. You would now be able to say out.println. Okay, we have this class called math and has lot of static methods. It has lot of there are some static variables as well. Okay, and for example, the value of pi. Okay, we have the value of pi. So that if someone wants to use the value of pi, there is a static variable in the math class, math.pi. You can have a static import declaration and just say pi. Okay, or you could still have given the wildcard math.star import static java.lang.math.star, and you should be able to use the static methods sine, cosine, right, sine, cos, all those mathematical functions They are there as a static methods, set of static methods. No one has to ever create the object of the math class. Math class has only static members. Okay, there are only static members in the math class. So you will have classes. The purpose of the math class act as a library for all the mathematical functions. It's just a library for all the mathematical functions. So there's no object creation for the math class. Okay, and so there are many classes which are only for the purpose of managing a set of functions. Okay, and so for those classes you will not be creating a object. So clear with the package and the import. And the first two things in your file, first should be a package, next a set of imports, any number of imports, and then you start the definition of your type. Okay, those two apply to the entire file. Those statements are applicable to the entire file.
In this case, why doesn't it pick java.vw3.rectangle?
Because it is the first preference is for the fully qualified name. Well, I find, see, first is, very first would be pkg1.rectangle. Second would be, I'm seeing an import who's ending with this, what I'm looking for. I'm looking for rectangle. Do I have someone who ends in a rectangle? Oh, there it is. Exact match. If I don't find, let me look at these. Okay, now one more small thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. It reminds me here. Okay, let me change it slightly. Let's take another example. Okay, and now this is, I'm using some of the things from the Java library. Okay, so give another example where we have a package declaration. Okay, again, maybe I'll use pkg1. So any package declaration could have been there. Okay, fine. And I have used imports like this. The first import declaration says import java.util.star, and second import says import java.sql.star, and first one is java.util.star, second one is java.sql.star. Okay, there are two different classes. One is a class called java.util.date. We also have a class called java.sql.date. Okay, so now in this file, if someone uses date, yeah, okay, and it is valid, there is a valid class called java.util.date. There is also a valid class called java.sql.date. So as it finds date, what is the compiler going to do first? First, check for pkg1.date. Oh, it's not there. So now what? Okay, the order of import do not matter. The order of imports do not matter. So what will it do now? It says this is ambiguous. It's not going to compile this. Okay, it's not going to compile this. Okay, so now tell me, I would like to be able to use both the date types in this Java file. What should I be doing? I want to be able to use both the date classes. How will I be doing it? There are two options. Yeah, you can always use them with the full name. Don't forget. Okay, fine. Anytime you want, you can use them with the full name. So if you are writing full name anywhere, it's known, right? It's only when you were trying to use the simple name. Okay, if you want to use the simple name, you can use it for one of them. The other will have to be written with full name. So if you find that it is the java.util.date that is more frequently being used, fine. In that case, maybe you are using other things also from these two packages. So you might just put one more import, okay, saying, okay, I would like to be able to import java.util.date. So if I have this, yes, date will be, okay, it's not in pkg1 and therefore this is the one which will go. Okay, it doesn't matter, the order of imports don't matter. Fine. So see, the compiler has to resolve everything to the full name. Okay, fine. So any questions on packet declaration and the import declaration?
So here,
Yeah.
first util date से हो रहा है और second SQL से हो रहा है.
Okay, if date is there, first look for
Util dot.
pkg1.date.
Yeah.
नहीं है, then
Then the
look for a date which has full name. See, in all the imports, so there's one date, there's one entry which is java.util.date. हो गया, खत्म. It doesn't have to look at anything else.
पर ये एक util dot date वाला और उसके बाद अगर एक SQL dot date यूज करना है तो वो कैसे?
Okay. No, now in this Java file, you will be able to use date for java.util.date. And wherever you want the java.sql.date, always say java.sql.date. There's no, you can't have a particular thing resulting in two different things. That's an ambiguity. चाहिए तो JavaSQL date पूरा नाम लिख के करो. So what is more frequently being used? You are using both of them, but what is being used more frequently? For that, you make a declaration so that you can use the simple name for that. See, import is not necessary to use a particular thing, right? Full name तो है मेरे पास कभी भी. That option is always there.
So if you use that, if you don't put that java.util.date, if you just put dot star and go, if you use date.
No. Then if you say date, it will say this is ambiguous. I can't make out which.
Followed by the syntax, which is used in SQL.
So you no, it's not because they may have a similar syntax. In fact, here the java.sql date is a subclass of java util date. So there's nothing about that. So it's I have to resolve the type, and right. So the compiler is only looking in this manner. Fine. Current package. If not, look for the full name. Otherwise, look at all the wildcards. Look at all the wildcards.
Trying to resolve that name.
Yes.
For resolving that name, it is searching.
Searching in this name. Yes.
Namespace.
Yes.
Wherever it gets the first hit, it stops.
Yeah. But so first preference, current package. Second preference, fully qualified name if mentioned. Okay, it would be always a wrong thing. It wouldn't even compile if you try to use two import where the last thing is the same. Okay, they are both saying, oh, I have an import for java.util.date as well as import for java.sql.date. That won't compile. Two import with the same fully qualified import with the same ending. That's wrong. Okay, it's not going to compile that.
Which one is execute first?
No, it's not about execution, it's about substitution.
The compiler will not compiler will
First,
stop.
compiler has to try to resolve. Oh, you have used date somewhere, only date. You have not qualified it. So what should I interpret it as? Fine. Current package, does it have a date? Oh, I don't find a date in the current package. Okay, in that case, there is an import which has a date. Yeah. Oh, you've mentioned this. See, any import, suppose you are writing an import and saying, oh, there is xyz dot. You may write an import which says import xyz dot date. What will be done? It will see, oh, I don't find xyz dot date. This import is invalid and it won't compile. Okay, all your imports have to be, if they are fully qualified, they have to be a valid import. And they must be a valid type name.
Fully qualified is the first.
Current package.
Okay.
Current package.
Is the first.
Yes, fully qualified. Then it goes to import. It doesn't look at import if I find in the current package. There's no need to look at import.
And this order of the import statements doesn't matter.
Order of the import doesn't matter.
Because if it were to matter, then
Yeah.
even a small change will break the code.
Yes.
Somebody moves the import statement up or down, then it
Huh?
will start breaking.
Fine, clear? So structure of Java, now that's in mind. Fine. Prefix declaration, then substitution rules for the type names as well as for the static member names. Fine. Any static member has a full name, right? Okay, and also it's not a good thing to leave things in an unnamed package. Right? Don't use the unnamed package. Fine. Till now, yes, we are trying to learn the things and we didn't know about a package thing. But once we know about package, now onwards, nothing for the unnamed package. Always use a package declaration.